Hey, what's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. I'm still kind of trying to get used to it, but it's okay. It is your girl, Miss Honey, here for another television review. Of course, you guys know today is Sunday, so it is P-Valley Sunday. And we had a bit of a hiatus last week, so you guys have not seen me now for 2 weeks. This is the second week, at least a week. Anyway, we are back with episode 7, and this episode is entitled Jackson. Okay. We are still reeling from the ties that bind, right? Name the episode whatever you want to name it. Over here at the Honeycomb Hideout, we know we are still dealing with the residual effects of all the ties that bind, okay, that keep us bound, right? This episode is no different. I will say this in complete transparency. It was not my favorite episode. It was not. I am really struggling with the Uncle Clifford character. I'm not sure why. I'm coming to you guys as humbly and as earnestly as I can, hoping that you guys will drop down in the comments and just try to give me a little bit more context with Uncle Clifford. I'm just not connecting with this season to Uncle Clifford at all. I'm just not. To the point where I don't know. I don't know. We're going to work it out. I don't know. I just don't know. Uncle Clifford is played by Nico Anand. And it may be Annan, but I think it's Anon. And we see him, Lil Murda, played by J. Alphonse Nicholson. And we see Brandy Evans, who plays Mercedes, and the young lady that plays her daughter. I neglected to get her name, and I should have her stage name. We see them predominantly in this episode, but for me, I just feel like whatever it was that Autumn and Keyshawn had going on, I don't know. To me, that was the meatiest part of this episode. It was the best part of this episode, and it was the most undertold part of this episode. Well written, but we just didn't spend enough time with it. Let's talk about it. Typically, I go in groups of characters because it just rolls off better for me. But this go round, I decided to go scene by scene or in order of the scenes because it was so much going on inside of me emotionally. I just felt like I needed to unpack this one a little bit differently this episode. Before I forget, if you're new to my channel, please hit that subscription button. It's free. Also give me a thumbs up. It's engagement. It's important. But if you don't do nothing else, please, let's talk about this episode down below. I need you guys. I really do. I need you guys to help me with this episode because I am struggling and I don't want to be judged, by some of my thought processes, Anyway, the episode opens with grandmother Ernestine basically in a COVID-induced dream. She's thinking back about how she used to sing down at the club, which is now called the Pank. I don't think it was always called a Pank, but it was always a juke joint that Clifford's family owned, right? And it was passed down. He is now, I think, the 3rd or 4th generation to own this property. So She's singing down, I'm gonna rap on your door, tap on your window pane, till you come back to me. That's what I'm gonna do. No, you don't call me no more. Anyway, I don't want to get into all that. I sit and wait for you. Y'all don't want me to do it. It's not your Sunday to do a solo, Miss Honey. Listen. So she's singing, and as she's singing, there's this montage of the juke joint, the club, throughout the years. And basically, it was just that. A place where there was pickpocketing and pimping. Like, it was everything. It was a place where people got shot and robbed and sold themselves, sold others, and also came to rest themselves after working over in the cow fields from sun up to sundown. Came in to have a cold beer, right? It's been a major hub. And so this montage, this opening montage, not only just speaks to how deep into this COVID situation that grandmother Ernestine is, but also speaks to just the history of the Pink. We get to see Beulah, who was Clifford's mama, and she had Clifford in the club when he was knee high to a grapevine. You know, she holding him in her arms. He probably was 2 or 3 years old, and he's smiling just as big, like it's in showbiz, like. All he was missing was that little glimmer. When you see cartoon people smile and they get that little sparkle, blink, blink. That's all Clifford was. And she introduced him as Uncle Clifford even at 3. She said, look, Uncle Clifford. So I'm like, is his first name Uncle? Is his first name Uncle? So at 3 years old, y'all call this boy Uncle Clifford? Or is his name Uncle? Like some people's name is brother or sister. Maybe his name is Uncle. I don't know. I have no idea. Is the first name Uncle and the middle name Clifford? Like, what is happening? But holding this baby, she called him Uncle Clifford. Now, either it's coming from grandmother's dream. So did grandmother think of Clifford as uncle even back then? It's odd. It's odd. Y'all, did it throw me? Is it just me? Am I the villain? I don't know. I just thought it was a moment I would put a pin in. And then we also see where she kind of comes out of the dream, inside of the dream, and the club is not beautiful and shiny anymore. It's all run down and dungeness, and she's not glamorous. She is looking fevered and ashen, and she sees this woman, brick house, stacked and packed. This Beulah, her daughter, baby, in her prime. I'm talking about pop, pop, pow. Okay, tight cinched at the waist, baby. And she got a tall drink, and she said, come on, mama. Come with me, mama. Come on. It's time, mother. Come along, mother. And grandmother Ernestine said, no, it's not now. Not now. I can't go now. Okay. And it's this moment where we realize, what's gonna happen to grandmother Ernestine? We see where Clifford and Autumn meet up to talk business. Now, they were supposed to meet outside, but he's inside walking around the pole looking out on all he surveys, and he's thinking about his memories of the club and the history of the club, and how that pressure of that history and that tradition of owning and running this club is weighing on him heavily. Not just because he loves it, but because he feels obligated, I'm sure, to carry on this tradition, especially with grandmother being in a bad way, in bad health. And so she comes in with a mask on because, see, he been exposed, to COVID. He ain't got no mask on. He out here tooling around. I'm talking about dressed to impress, baby. You done drove clean into town. Okay, no, you been around COVID. Like, what is going on? Anywho, they get to talking back and forth about the fact that he wanted to meet with her, and he said, we just need to stop all this squabbling. I can't kill you, so therefore we need to try to work it out. And she said, you're not going to talk me into not selling the paint. Okay, and he said, listen, what we need to talk about is what we're going to do, and I don't understand why you don't get why this is important to me. And he tells her, he reminisces all over all the Pink's history. My granddaddy Honeycomb, excellent name, by the way, excellent name. Okay, my granddaddy Honeycomb was shot over there, and his daddy's daddy used to come in out of the cows fields back in slavery days, I guess, child, I don't know, and had him a cold drink before he had to be back to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't have been slavery days, but you know what I'm saying. And he's just telling her all of this history and all this stuff, and she is like, listen, you can make new memories. Like, I understand people thinking Autumn is selfish, because she is. I understand people thinking that Autumn got her own agenda, because she does, right? But I also think Autumn has a right to be selfish. I think Autumn has a right to her own agenda. I think the storyline is set up for us to hate Autumn, only to have Autumn pull out in a pinch, and come through, in a pinch. But at the same time, I think if we empathize a little bit with the Autumn character, we'll see. I mean, she did take all of her money and put it to say the Pink, right? And Clifford is part owner. She shouldn't really be taking meetings without Clifford, because she can only sell a certain percentage of the club. He has to co-sign on his half of it. She can't sell the whole club from underneath him. I don't know how it's written up, but it just seems like if he owns 30% of the club and she owns 70, that they have to agree to sell it. But maybe it's not written that way. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Put it down below. But I still think she has the right to think of herself. I think she has the right to think of her own future. I think even though, what he is saying is supposed to be touching to us, all of that is fine. All of that is fine. But I agree with Autumn. All I see too is unreliable income and profits. That's what she says. How long before y'all shut down again? Look at grandmother Ernestine. Don't you dare bring my grandmother's name in your mouth. First of all, sir. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. Because your granny did not get COVID because of Autumn. Your granny got... Anyway. So, all she sees is unreliable income and profits and the dream, okay, that she had for herself and her baby girl, okay? She had saved that money to get her and her baby girl out. She wasn't able to get her baby girl out, but she still got that dream, okay, of what she was going to do with in this plan that she had to get away. And he walks up to her and says to her, but Haley, I thought he said Haley. Maybe he said Autumn. Or maybe he just said girl. But he said your baby is gone. And Autumn is shook like it's something she had packed away and put away in the recesses of her mind and only just now remembered that her baby is gone. Allegedly. We don't know. Allegedly. Right? It was crazy. Right? Mercedes calls old drunken Shell and negotiates another night stay for Terrica. It don't really matter no way, because Shell don't even remember when the child left. You know what I mean? Terrica is showing and craving ice cream. Mercedes takes her for ice cream. AKA Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Because what they may or may not need to get done, they can't do it in Chucalissa. They got to go to the next closest, largest city, which is Jackson, Mississippi. If they want to do any type of terminations whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? They got to do it in Jackson, but we gonna call it ice cream going forward, right? Okay, so Terrica, listen, is 14 and pregnant, and I don't know is her middle name. Mercedes is 30 and got a child with child, and don't know. She thinks she know, but don't know. Okay. Admittedly, 14-year-old Terrica don't know, but 30-year-old Mercedes thinks she know, but she don't know. But it's okay, because on this journey you gonna learn. On this journey with Terrica, these next few days, Mercedes gonna learn, okay? So we see where Lil Murda is on the couch back at Clifford's house, and he rolling up. And he is having all these flashbacks about Teak and everything that went on. And when he wakes up, he's in tears, and he hears grandmother Ernestine coughing. And so he runs in there and you know, gathers a little bit. You finally awake, and he done brought her something to eat. Brought up and fixed old lovely Sunday dinner, child. Old smothered pork chop, fresh rice, collard greens, yams. I mean, Sunday dinner at its finest. You know what I'm saying? So she wakes up, and you know, he tells her, he tells her who she is, and she kids about his name. You know, it's our moment. I actually enjoy the dialogue and the chemistry between Lil Murda and grandmother Ernestine. So they have this conversation, and she can still smell. And he said, well, you haven't lost your smell yet. She said, no, I can smell what you got, and the taste of food you keep tasting. You're gonna make an OB not want you to leave. And he said, oh, you don't want me. And she said, I'm not the OB I'm talking about Clifford. And so he smiled. He was like, well, I only could hope that Clifford would take me back in, would want to keep me and not let me go, you know. And she said, you know what? You know what else I smell? What's that, ma'am? I smell death. And he's like, Miss Ernestine said, no. I smell death, baby. He had a mask on, but his eyes fell. I'm telling you, J. Alphonse Nicholson is a diamond in the Mickey Fricky rough, y'all. It's not always about the words. Look at this dude's body language. He has a whole other dialogue going on just with body language. Not just that, the words that he does get, the script that he does get, he intertwines body language in with the words. It's very effective for setting a mood, for creating empathy within the viewer. It's a talent. It is a talent. Okay? His eyes drop. She said, at night I smelt it was so much blood. I could smell it. Eyes dropped again. And she said, at night I smelled death. He'd already been dreaming about it. He'd already been feeling about it. The ties that bind, remember? What Teak did in front of Lil Murda became a tie around Lil Murda's neck. He's grieving in the only way he knows how to grieve, as a down low thug rapper. You know what I'm saying? Poor, or in the poor set, you know, drug dealer, hood ninja, right? Like he's all of these different layers of things, and grieving, all of those things, and grieving, right? It's nuances there, because he has moments in this episode where he seems fine. He seems like he's going on with his normal way, which is being thoughtful and being a comforter, right? But we see these glimpses of pain that he's having, and for her to bring it forward like that and speak it out loud the way that she did, it was a moment. It was a moment. And I think it was trying to be a callback, a creepy callback as well, because this season wants to try to be slightly American Horror Stories for some reason. It's not necessary. I personally am not impressed or scared or frightened in any way possible about this whole spooky innuendos that we've had this season. But I digress. So we see where Keyshawn and Derek are in the supermarket, and he looked like Wolfman Jack, and he's trying to rally her. He knows that he is going a bridge too far. Beating her was one thing, but beating that baby, one of her babies, is a whole nother situation. And he knows that she's not just going to rally back up and get back on point. What he doesn't know is she's also dealing with the death of Rome and the fact that he tried to rape her, and Teak being killed, and him constantly smothering her and not allowing her to try to go out there and figure out her way and figure out what's going on with her money. She's setting into depression. He probably knows all of this, because even though he wants her to be reliant on him, if she don't work, they don't eat. Keyshawn ain't ready yet. I ain't ready yet. But when Keyshawn get ready, Derek, Miss Honey gonna let you have it. Yeah. She gonna cut you up good. Let me go on back. So they in the market, and he trying to rally her up. And he, what about a moon pie? What about some Cheetos? You ever thought about eating some Oreos? We could do so and so. All she can think about is them fractured ribs, that swollen eye, that cut inside her lip, the bruises on her backside. That's all she can think about, and how she gonna get away from your insanity. Okay, but he trying to shuck and jive. I'm really trying here. Now, in a minute he finna beat her because she ain't happy. Are you trying to upset me by being upset? Are you trying to upset me by being sad and downtrodden by the fact that I ain't Jack? That I ain't got a pot or a window? That I can't feed me, let alone you and these other two kids? Are you trying to make me feel bad about being a no account piece of ish? Because I'll mollywop you until you say different. Till you act different. Till everybody makes me feel like I'm superior. He doing all that talking, and she's looking over his shoulders, and she sees Autumn peek around the corner. And Autumn looking at her like, she tells him, I need to go get some makeup to cover up all these bruises and scratches and things that you done put up all over my face, and some rubbing alcohol and some liniment and some things of this nature, so I can take care of my war wounds. Okay, well, we'll meet you at the cash register. Them kids is a hodgepodge. Child. Keyshawn, I don't know what your kids' heritage is going to be, baby. Is it Irish? What is it? Is it European? Like, what is we doing? Them kids is a hodgepodge, child. A hodgepodge. You know what I'm saying? It look like she slept with every single last member of the village people, right? She don't know. It be a redhead, a brunette. Anyway, I digress. So when Autumn sees her, she sneaks away and meets Autumn, and Autumn sees her, and then she got her head down. She want to talk, but she don't want her to see, where she got. Autumn pull that mask down and see that eye. She said, I see you ain't got the courage yet to use that gun I gave you. And Keyshawn said, I just couldn't. He's the father of my children, and I just don't know. I just got to find another way. I just haven't figured out what that way is yet. Autumn was like, okay. Then we hear Derek hollering for her. Just hollering, because she been gone 2 seconds too long. You know what I'm saying? The baby crying. I got to go. He called her name. Ooh, I got to go. She runs off, scurries. Okay. Autumn standing there looking like that girl. We see where Clifford comes home from the pink to find grandmother Ernestine and Lil Murda doing just fine. Okay, just fine, right? Lil Murda's on top of it, He's responsible. He done cooked. He done checked her sugar. He got her temperature locked down. She's resting peacefully, right? He say, you hungry? Lil Murda say, you hungry? Take him downstairs and make him Sunday dinner. Okay, make him a plate of Sunday dinner. He's sitting there eating. And it's supposed to give us this moment of their kind of rekindling, kind of something. Is supposed to give us something. It's supposed to give us something. I'm not sure, but it was supposed to give us something. This idea that they were, cohabitating, so to speak, and communicating like a couple. It was supposed to give us couple tease, maybe. I don't know. But Clifford talks to him like he's come home from a long day's work, and his mate is there, and he's going to tell his mate about his hard day. So he starts talking about Autumn, the deal that she got. Turns out she got a $5 million offer. She turned that $5 million down to go with a larger offer. Clifford is upset about it, but he's not really upset about it. That's why I don't know why we keep going on with this Clifford against Autumn situation when it's Clifford and Autumn against Kyle and old boy Andre, or the Promised Land people. Like, because Clifford want money, but he don't want to sell the pink to get it. Basically, he want to come up, but he don't want to sell the pink to come up. He want to keep the pink and come up through the pink, basically. Well, Lil Murda doesn't play dumb. He's smart. He was like, oh, well, with your percentage, you get 1 point something million dollars. He was like, oh, okay. So not only is he Chef Negro RD, but he's also Lil Calculator, right? Smart. And he's able to relate and follow along with the conversation of his friend and lover, who is also a business owner, right? He's not out of his league. He's in his league, right? I guess that's what we learned in this moment. Clifford says, enough about this lady, Autumn, let's talk about you. I heard you crying on the sofa last night. Now, this moment is supposed to let us know that Clifford has not, in fact, accepted Lil Murda back into his heart and to his bedroom. So we have to bring up the fact that Lil Murda is on the sofa at least 3 times, right? Got it. No problem, right? This whole Lil Murda and Clifford situation for me was awkward. It was clunky. And if it wasn't for J. Alphonse Nicholson, I would have cut the scene out altogether. So they have this conversation back and forth, and he tells him, they talked about love and money, not money over, it used to be money over love, and I think about things differently now. This is another one of the reasons why I sat through this conversation, because I'm just thirsty for, this emotion that I get from J. Alphonse. J. Alphonse has this great dialogue about he used to think about money over love, and now he thinks about it differently. Now he thinks that money is not the end all to be all, and that there's more out there. There's more about love, pertaining to love and being in love out there, and that type of thing. It's a really good moment. And I enjoyed Alphonse's acting take on this scene. Clifford gets up and says, "Let me go and get you find you some clothes, since it looks like you're gonna be staying another night." All right. Again, things are awkward between the two of them. Not just because they had this fight, not just because they had this space, these months between them. Mercedes and Terrica drive down on their way to get ice cream. And Terrica know every word to WAP, but she don't know how far along she is. Again, she's 14 and pregnant. Okay. And Mercedes, likewise, doesn't know how far along Terrica, her only child, is. Even though she's showing, okay, even though she is showing, clearly showing, she don't know how far along she is either. And she don't know how to deal with an adolescent. She didn't raise her. She did not raise a Terrica. So Mercedes is struggling. And she spends this entire episode really basically dragging Terrica and Terrica's decisions before Jesus. You know, come to Jesus moments. She keeps trying to have them with Terrica, and bring and drag Terrica, kicking and screaming to Jesus, and say, look what you've done. Look how old you are. What are you going to do? How you going to do it? You know what I'm saying? And Brandy Evans plays this character in a way that she always comes off angry, even when she's happy. Even when at season 1, when Maine would come out, when she would be walking her dog. What happened to her dog, y'all? But anyway, when she'd be walking her dog, and Maine would come outside, and he'd be like, hey, what's up, Mercedes? She'd be like, what you think of? You know what I'm saying? You mad, but you're not mad, but you got to act mad, because that's your hard candy shell. It's fine when you with a dude, I guess, but when it's your own child, your daughter, like, it's coming across real crazy, like. And this whole episode, she's giving them, what you gonna do? You know, because you're 14 and pregnant. You know, I just was like, okay, Mercedes, okay. It's gonna come back and bite you, sis, but it's fine. Let's just walk this thing out. It's your journey. You got to learn. So after Terrica realizes that ice cream is code for Jackson, right? We're going to the ice cream parlor in Jackson. Oh, we're going to Jackson. And we can get you some ice cream, but we also going there to talk to somebody about your whole situation. Because we need to figure out what you gonna do, okay? And Terrica's like, you want me to get rid of it? And she was like, I want you to. You got to decide that. Well, you want me to keep it? I can't decide that either, okay? And finally, Mercedes says, I don't know. You got all these. I don't know. All I know is we got to find out where you at in the game, so we can make decisions from there. You and I both gonna go get in this car, and we're gonna go to Jackson, and we're gonna talk to a professional. We're gonna see how far along you are and what your choices are. That's what we need to start from, okay? Get in the goddamn car. They get in the car and head on their way. She did give us some good advice. After she threw up, she said, listen, you got to think about more than just having a baby and raising a baby. You got to think about your own life, okay? Having children, especially in our culture, for black women, it's very dangerous. It could be life or death. You know, Beyonce and Serena, this way she tell her, almost died having their children, okay? And that's something you got to think about too. They almost died. Well, Lisa's cousins, aunts, friends, maids, pool cleaners, daughters, sisters, friend told her that you could get cancer if you have an abortion. If you don't get your dumb... Mercedes gathered herself. That is stupid. That's dumb. Get in the car. We're going to Jackson. So, it's a moment. I don't know, you don't know, we going together to find out. We see where Lil Murda is folding up the couch and he finds his phone. That Tina Snow track that he was on is blowing up. And the promoters is calling, and so is Waldy. Waldy is calling because the promoters is calling him. And they want to rearrange the tour stops that he missed because of COVID and everything that was going on with the George Floyd situation. They want to rebook, and he's fine with that, but he don't know. I'm not sure what we're gonna do about security. In other words, how can I go on without Teak? Oh yeah, security warden said, listen, that thing that happened with Teak, that was awful, man. That was awful. That was terrible. Okay, do y'all have him down there at the funeral home? And Walter says yes. Nobody from his family has come to collect his body yet. If they don't come soon, we gonna give him a pauper's grave. And Lil Murda say, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Me and the gang, we'll pay for his, his burial. And so Walter's like, oh, okay, that's fine. I'm cool with that. It was this weird moment where we kind of addressed the Teak situation, but we're not unpacking that again in this episode. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the acknowledgement of him, and I'm okay with us moving on to what the residual emotions are after someone has done something like this. I think that's okay, because this is what it is. This is literally what it is. When you do something like this, the world does not stop. Pain does not stop. Bills don't stop. Don't nothing stop except your opportunity to see it get better. That's the only thing that stops. That's the only thing that stops, is your opportunity to get to see things become better for yourself, right? The world just keeps moving. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, right? So we see where Clifford is sorting through his clothes, and Lil Murda comes in, and this your Leia again. It's this awkward moment. Even with J. Alphonse being such an exceptional actor, so young in his career, it's still, there is this awkwardness. There's this space, this invisible elephant in between them, conversationally, in the structure of the, I don't know, I was gonna say in the structure of the writing. And that's because I'm torn with the fact that I'm just not overly, I'm so underwhelmed at Nico Anand's portrayal of Uncle Clifford. And I don't know why, you guys. I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it is Nico Anand's interpretation of the writing. I don't know that I'm not meeting the actor and the character where they are, because I've set this really high bar, being absolutely gobsmacked, goo goo gaga over this season and the writing for this season, and how much great acting we've seen from the Lil Murda character and the Teak character, and even in this episode with Brandy Evans' character, with the Autumn character in this episode. Like, I don't know, it just feels like Uncle Clifford, either as a character or the actor who plays Uncle Clifford, is just not giving for me. He's just not giving. He's coming across as a caricature to me. He's coming across as hammy to me. I don't know if I don't really see Uncle Clifford as I don't relate to Uncle Clifford, not see Uncle Clifford. Maybe I don't relate to Uncle Clifford because there is so much to pull the eye and to pull the ear and to cover up Clifford, the actual being Clifford, without all of these accoutrements, that I just don't relate to him, because all of that is blocking. If that is a force field to keep us from engaging, from connecting to this character, I just do not connect with the Uncle Clifford character, and I don't know why. Is there anyone else out there who, now I feel like in season 1 I had a connection with Uncle Clifford, and this season I don't feel it. And I just need to know if it's just me or if you guys are experiencing this as well. But let's move forward. So they have this small talk about Clifford and you know, he's got a vintage handbag and he's pulled out all of his clothes and, you know, his his clothes are they're not a costume. These are his clothes, but they're costumey. You know, they're extra elaborate, you know, flossy, flashy, that type of thing. And they sort of kid about it, about the fact that Uncle Clifford has been this way since he was 3. And he says, so you were always like this? And Uncle Clifford was like, what? And he was like what? You know, and Lil Murda said, I don't know. I mean, I don't mean any offense, but I mean, what are you? Right? This is to answer the question that probably, you know, non-homosexual, or even if you are homosexual or LGBTQIA, maybe this is a question you have for yourself when you meet people who, you know, have this alternative perspective of who they are, right? Anyway, so what are you? You know, this is for us, right? This is dialogue to help us. And so Uncle Clifford says, he walks up to him and says, I'm Uncle Clifford. What are you? See, that's why I don't get into all that he, she, they. I don't get into all of that. You just Uncle Clifford. You just Uncle Clifford, and that's it. Uncle Clifford. Okay? That you Uncle Clifford, you Uncle Clifford. And Lil Murda said, what the world won't let me be. Uncle Clifford said, And then Lil Murda spots a postcard. Okay, and there's this tender moment, I think, that's meant to capture Clifford's feelings about how and why they fell out, and it's also meant to capture Lil Murda's apology for his part in them falling out. I wanted to point this out here because this small moment points to what I was saying about J. Alphonse as an actor as opposed to other actors, either on this series or other actors that you see that you may not necessarily connect with. J. Alphonse does this thing where he's facing the mirror, he's got the postcard, and he asks about it, and Clifford is behind him. And he asks Clifford, he starts to, you know, take this moment. He says, he asked Clifford which one of the postcards was his favorite. You kept the postcards. Which one is your favorite? And instead of him turning physically his whole body around to look at Lil Murda, or to turn his head and to look at Clifford, or to turn his head and look at Clifford, what he does, J. Alphonse, as an actor, still looking at himself, he turns his head slightly and drops his eyes. And this lets me know that he's expecting something. You know what I'm saying? He's looking for something. It's physically acting as well as using the dialogue to act, right? It's not just the words, it's how the character emotes from the actor, right? Drops his eyes. He wants him to say what his favorite is, because that would mean you looked at every card and you thought about it and you do have a favorite. And Clifford says, the one with you in red. You always look good in red. And so he was like, okay. Okay. And so, you know, Lil Murda says, I'm sorry I hurt you. And this is only one of 2 really super genuine scenes that I get, or I feel authenticity from the Clifford character. He says, I don't get hurt anymore. I just get disappointed. And then he talks about how people see the sparkle and the shine and all the extra glamour that is Uncle Clifford. They don't know how hard it is or how lonely it is when your light shines so bright. Okay, the genuine moment there was, I don't get hurt anymore, just disappointed. That was a moment I felt that was true even to the actor himself, Nico Anand, and I think that's why it came across as authentic. I think this other things that we see from Clifford, especially in this episode, is this caricature. It's this dramatic haze that keeps us from connecting with this character. Y'all just tell me what y'all think. I'm prepared to be wrong. And he and Lil Murda says, I'm sorry, I just thought I could pass. And then Clifford said, listen, well, it ain't no passing with me. And I wasn't sure if he meant ain't no passing, like you're not gonna be with me and pass and be on the DL, or if he meant if you gonna be with me, people gonna know you not gonna pass. Everybody gonna know what's up. He didn't seem to worry about it when they was hollering for Grandma Ernestine all around town, or when the ambulance was there and all them people was gathered. He didn't seem to mind then. But you know what I'm saying? First things first. Grandmother is sick. All right. So in that moment, ain't no passing with me. We hear a thud. Grandmother Ernestine then got out the house somehow, full of COVID and fever. Blind and elderly, she has made her way down to the riverbed. We spend these many minutes watching Clifford look around the house for his blind, COVID-stricken elderly grandmother with another able-bodied person. Then leave the house, go walk down, calling her name all the way through the through the woods to the river. She about to go over the river. Okay. They found a shoe, a house coat. Grandmama, no. They run up to her. We didn't need none of it. None of it. It was just another opportunity for us to see J. Alphonse's tenderness as an actor. Grandmother say, I got to go. Let me go. Beulah is calling me and Beulah is waiting on me. Lil Murda say, who is Beulah? Who is Beulah? Who's Beulah? What are you doing here? Uncle Clifford say, that was my mama. Grandmother. Now you know you can't jump in the river. Grandmother. You can't go sweeping in the great Mississippi, grandmother. Huh? Nah. Oh my gosh. Lil Murda take her bonnet. She say, if you can't take me to the water, bring the water to me. Supposed to be this tender moment. She's out of her mind. She's so close to death. She don't look good. Clifford, Lil Murda says, he runs over and he gets a whole scoop of her bonnet, scoop of Mississippi water, river water, and he takes it and he dribbles it all across her face, and she's like, oh, collapses. Gathers her up and gets her back to the house just in time for the ambulance to come and wheel her out, and she got oxygen. I'm never coming back to this place no more. Don't say that, Grandmother Ernestine. Don't say that, Grandmother Ernestine. You're going to be fine. I don't want to die alone. But it's corona. It's COVID. Nobody can go to the hospital with her. Nobody can ride in the ambulance with her. She has to go alone. Uncle Clifford is devastated. We see where Mercedes pulls over for Terrica to take a potty and notices a mom and her daughter sitting at the diner table through the window. Mercedes still in the car, and she looks like that the mother is fussing out the daughter, and it takes her back, and she remembers how her and Patrice the Dragon Woodbine was sitting in a diner, and they was homeless and broke, and she wanted to know what time where we gonna spend the night at tonight. And Patrice always running a scam, child. She gonna tell her, I'm a little short on cash. Why don't you go over point to a grown a man? Now this your baby, your child, and you tell her to go over and work her magic. Now what does work her magic mean? She's supposed to, please sir, may I have some more? Or she's supposed to take him around back and jerk and pull, give him that Georgia Dome. Like, do your thing, work your magic. What does that mean as a mom when you send your daughter to go talk to a grown man and you say go work your magic? Mercedes, young 16-year-old Mercedes says, don't worry about it, I got it. She goes in her wallet to pull her money out, and her mama see a condom in there. What you doing with this condom? Money? I got money. I'm gonna pay the bill. No, what you doing with this condom? I know you ain't screwing. You screwing for money? No, mama, it's for my boyfriend. My boyfriend, he take care of me. And she was like, take care of you. And then she just starts slapping on Mercedes, and wailing on her, molly-whopping her right there in the restaurant. Like, nobody got up, nobody tried to help, nobody tried to stop her. Like, it was just done right there in front of everybody. It was perfectly okay, right? And when Terrica gets back in the car, it brings Mercedes out of it. And it's coming to Mercedes now. It's coming to her. It's not just you and Terrica on the road to Jackson. It's not. It's you and Terrica and y'all demons. Okay? And the head demon in charge, the supervisor of all demons, is Patrice the Dragon Woodbine. These are the ties that bind you guys. We talked about it. She's in your spirit. She's in your head. And she's coming out of your mouth, and she's dogging your child just like she dogged hers. It's coming to Mercedes little by little. Along the way, she's seeing billboards of Patrice the Dragon Woodbine and commercials of Patrice the Dragon Woodbine. And she's dealing with the situation that Patrice the Dragon Woodbine went through as a child, but she's dealing with it with her own child. See, Terrica ain't the only one that's got to come to Jesus. Oh, no! Huh? Okay, come on, let's go. Let's do it. Okay, so she hops in the car, and it brings Mercedes out of the daydream that she was having, and we see where she like I said, Terrica is 14, and she's naive and she's hopeful. She's on her phone and she's texting her boyfriend Keenan, and Keenan knows that Terrica is pregnant, but he wants her to keep the baby. Okay, and the conversation turns sour when Mercedes challenges Terrica's hopes and dreams. Okay, and compares them to her own situation. Okay, her own circumstance when she was that age, and Terrica gets slick at the mouth, and Mercedes pops her in the mouth. Mercedes is like, yeah, daddy didn't love me, and he told me he loved me, and then when I told him I was pregnant, wasn't no more love there, and he wasn't no account, and I was on my own. And Terrica said, well, no wonder you don't want me to be in love and have a family, and popped her in the mouth. Terrica, oh. No wonder you don't know what love is. When I have my baby, when I become a mama, I ain't gonna never slap my child in the mouth. Mercedes said, that's what I said too. First of all, she didn't slap you in the mouth, ma'am. She popped you in the mouth. It's different. A slap is when they go way up here, and they bring it down hard to your face. Hard to the ground. That's a slap. She did was pop you in your mouth to get you to put them lips together. That's what she did. I ain't saying it's right. I'm just saying it wasn't a slap, sis. Prepare yourself for the slap. Don't turn a pop into a slap just yet. Trust me, keep living and getting smart at the mouth like you doing, and you gonna see what an official slap is. Keep living, ma'am. Keep living. Listen, when they get down to the clinic, it's protesters there. and the dragon. Patrice the Dragon Woodbine is there too. Remember, Mercedes is carrying her with her. When she's being dogmatic and woofing at Terrica instead of talking to her, when she's not being empathetic, when she's not being compassionate and patient, she is being Patrice Woodbine. Because that's where she learned it from. Dog them out. Dog stand over them. Bark them down. Tell them what they gonna do. Make them do. Woof them. Woof, woof, woof. And wonder why the girl keep calling you Sadies. 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 Okay. Check into a motel and they cooling off at the pool. Mercedes gets another opportunity to be a mom and not a big sis. Anything better than a grandmama though. And Terrica's still thinking. She don't know what she want to do. Mercedes has an opportunity to travel. Had an opportunity to travel, she tells Terrica. But she decided she didn't want to be that far away from Terrica. Sweet. But forget about me, Mercedes says. Forget about Keenan. Forget about the baby. What does Terrica want for Terrica? Right? She's now starting to see. I can't drag this girl kicking and screaming. I know how it made me feel. So I want to give her the opportunity to make her own choice. But I want her to make those choices soundly and rationally, having really thought about her options, right? I see Mercedes' heart. It's the presentation that I'm talking about. Okay? How she's trying to handle the situation and sort of take Terrica, the bull by the horns, and pull her into this thing, right? Can't be done. Can't be done, especially if you want to heal the relationship with your daughter and strengthen it as you all go forward. Okay? What does Terrica want for Terrica? Back in the room, Mercedes continued to bring, like I said, having come to Jesus moment with Terrica. You know, I can't fit my pants. Can we go to an outlet and get some more pants? You can't fit your pants because you're 14 and pregnant. Okay? Now you're going to have to tell me. You're going to have to make a decision and decide what you going to do. She's 14 and a half weeks. She's discovered when she goes to the clinic. 14 and a half weeks. She's at that window. She has to decide quickly. So Mercedes has got to treat her gingerly. She's got to let her make her own decision. But whatever your decision is, it need to be fast. Because you finna lose one of them options if you ain't careful. And if you want to use that option, you best speak up now. But she does it in a way that forces Terrica to once again push back. You challenging me as a 14-year-old mom. What about you? How come you didn't come for me? How come you didn't raise me yourself? How come you didn't fight for me? Who was going to let me have you? The judge, Patrice, Shell, all of them said I couldn't have you. All right? And she says, okay, that's fine. You couldn't have legal custody of me, but why were you missing visitations? Why didn't you come to my party, my birthday parties and stuff like that? Mercedes said, listen, you have no idea the things I've done. Now, if you talking about this hoeing, that's what it was. I know you don't consider yourself a hoe, but it was hoe for pay. It was. I mean, you know, you did what you had to do. Or you felt you had to do. Okay? That's what you talking about? No. You talking about, she might be talking about that a little bit, but she also talking about getting the gym and trying to, you know, make things better for them. She said, so, okay, you doing all this stuff for me. What happened? She say, so why you don't have me then? Oh, it's your come to Jesus moment too, Mercedes. Oh, yes. Terrica runs off and goes into the bathroom. Mercedes looks at the mirror and she sees Patrice the Dragon Woodbine looking back at her. And it's in this moment she's like, this is it's sink or swim. You say you want this baby. This baby says she wants you. You got to help her through this. You the one person that knows how she feels in this moment. Get Patrice out of here. Get Patrice's rhetoric out of here and talk to your baby. Right? This is what Mercedes does. Finally becomes vulnerable and transparent and honest. I contemplated these same choices myself, she says. But I didn't have a choice. Patrice forced me to keep it. She said, you know what? I'm glad. Sometimes the devil can give you a blessing. Because I'm glad to have you. I didn't have a choice, but you got a choice. And I'm going to see to it that you get to exercise your choice. Okay, Mercedes. Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, Mercedes is able to talk her out of the bathroom. Come out of the bathroom. She begins empathizing with Terrica and redirecting her confusion by asking her something real easy. An easy choice, right? She says, what color do you want to paint your room? Green? How did you know? I'm your mama. I know everything. I'm your mama. That's how I know, basically. You want to paint the room for the baby? No, I'm going to paint it for you. We got a lot of lost time to make up for. It's a good moment. We see that Clifford is in the shower now and he's grieving. He's out of full garb and he's grieving grandmother Ernestine. Even though we've not got the word about grandmother Ernestine, we can kind of see what's coming. And he's crying. He is terribly broken. I still can't connect with this character. I don't know why, you guys. Even in this tender moment, I am not moved. I'm not. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. When he finds out, when he gets out of the shower and he comes into his room, he finds Lil Murda trying to cheer him up. They had this joke about Cisco because Lil Murda's hair is not growing out. It's staying in the same spray painted style that they put it in. I was like, why his edges not nappy? He been sweating and running. Like, why is his hair still so perfectly coiffed? Like, it's weird. It's not real hair. It's spray paint. So I digress. And so, he's dancing around like Cisco, and it's supposed to be his joke. He's really trying to cheer Clifford up, who's so upset about grandmother Ernestine. And they dance and laugh around, and Clifford falls on the bed, and then he gets sad. It's this moment where I was like, oh, I don't like the acting. Clifford was like, and he turns and J. Alphonse. It's not right. I can't help it, but these are my emotions. J. Alphonse tenderly turns Clifford over, and they're laying in the bed, but they're facing each other. They're elbow to elbow and face to face, and it's just like, and he touches Clifford's face tenderly, and he just tries to just give him that bit of comfort, and they end up kissing. And then there is this whole scene that I just the thing about it is, even when Nico Anand's character comes into the room and J. Alphonse is dancing around, there's still this big giant invisible elephant called awkwardness that's in this scene. I do not get true chemistry from these two characters. I just don't. And I don't think it's because one is heterosexual and one is homosexual. I don't know. Or one doesn't identify as homosexual and one does. I don't know. But I don't know. I don't feel any chemistry between these two characters. And I'm having a hard time not blaming Clifford for the fact that I don't feel connected to his character. There, I said it. they basically end up, Murder comforts. Clifford obliges. They basically have sex. Clifford murder essentially showed Clifford his soft underbelly. Like, not only do I apologize, but I sort of acquiesce to you. That's what I got from this scene. I'm submitting to you. I'm showing you my soft underbelly so that you know that I am authentic about the fact that I don't mean you any harm, that I'm invested in you. I don't want any trouble. I don't want there to be any further trouble. So let me just show you my soft, warm underbelly and submit to you. And I don't think we needed that sex scene. I don't think we needed it. I just don't. At this point, it has become gratuitous. And it's kind of like a ratings thing to me. There wasn't any authenticity. I think we could have gone from that initial kiss that they had, where Uncle Clifford was saddened, and Lil Murda rolled him over and they were face to face and they kissed. I think we could have gone from that to when they were laying in the bed post coitus, and Lil Murda says, "Why did you let me back inside?" And Clifford said, "Because you needed me. I needed you." And Murda cries. Clifford wipes his tears, says, "Take your time, okay? You don't need to hurry. Take your time." Like, I know this thing for me, I've always been out loud, proud, and fought to be who I am aesthetically and internally, and I know it's not as easy for you, okay? And I should have been more considerate of that. Basically, this is what Clifford is giving him when he wipes his tears and he says, "Take your time. I'll wait. Take your time," right? We could have gone from that to that. We didn't need that in between, because we had already seen a level of vulnerability from the Lil Murda character through the acting in this episode, from just the way he not only talked to grandmother Ernestine about his feelings about Clifford, but Clifford about his feelings. We didn't need this gratuitous scene. We didn't need it, period. And I think the unnecessariness, I think it came across that we didn't need it. I think that's why I didn't need it. So we see where Terrica and Mercedes check out, and Mercedes lets Terrica take the wheel literally with the car and with her life. And she says, take the wheel. You choose what you want to do, because Terrica's like, should I keep it? Should I go through with this thing? And Mercedes says, I can't decide that for you. I won't decide that for you. You have to decide that for yourself. And so Terrica's like, okay, that's fine. She says, take the wheel. You choose Chuckalisa or Jackson. And so Terrica drives. And here's another authentic moment where they're riding in the car and the window's down, and they both, the wind is blowing a little bit, and Terrica hits that, the sign says Jackson to the right, exit to the right for Jackson, and Terrica's driving along and she hits that turn signal, and all you hear is that click, 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 clink, 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 of that turn signal, and she makes that turn. It was such an authentic moment. I felt like I was there in the car riding with them. This moment gave me so much empathy for both characters, right? And the acting of both characters. So that was a really good moment. I felt like I was there. After they get back home and Terrica is kind of recuperating from what she's gone through, and they once again experience Patrice the Dragon Woodbine on the TV. And it's a difficult moment for Terrica because she knows how Mercedes feels about her, about Patrice the Dragon Woodbine. But she says, listen, don't worry about her. Don't focus on her. She has no power and no control unless we give it to her. Okay? And Terrica's like, Mama. It's the first time in the whole episode she calls her mama. Mama, you think I'm going to hell? And Mercedes says, well, if you do, I'll be right there with you. And Patrice the Dragon Woodbine gonna be y'all supervisor. I'm convinced that hell for you, Mercedes, is gonna be your mama. It's gonna be being with your mama. Even if y'all both go to heaven, she gonna make it hell for you, boo. Autumn comes to visit Keyshawn. I think this was the best episode. This was the best scene for me. The Keyshawn Autumn bit for this episode to me was the best, and it was, for me, it could have been expounded upon, especially because I think Keyshawn and what Keyshawn's got going on is going to once again end this season. Okay, so let's talk about it. We're not going to do a breakdown on Uncle Clifford. Let's do the Keyshawn situation. We could have had more quality time, more quality writing, I think, with the Mercedes Terrica storyline. We could have used the time that they was looking for grandmother and having this gratuitous sex scene and all these theatrics we was getting from Clifford to actually get to know Clifford. Autumn knocks on the door and Derek answers the door, child. And she comes to bring a gift for Baby Regal. Now, it is really a gift for Baby Regal, right? But it comes in the form of a phone for Keyshawn. But before Autumn gives the phone to Keyshawn, she takes old fussy Baby Regal and she rocks her gently as she tells Keyshawn, aka Baby Regal, a bedtime story, Basically a song of freedom, you know what I'm saying? A war cry. Girl, you in danger? If you need help, call me. But basically it came in the form of a night story for little Regal. Let me tell you a little story, Regal. And she tells her, once upon a time there was a girl named Haley. Never had a home of her own. She walked the deep, dark woods searching for shelter in a constant storm. Till one day a baby fell out of the sky and her dreams came true. She finally had a family of her own. But that's when she met a hunter. She looking at Keyshawn the whole time she telling Baby Regal this story, right? That's when she met a hunter. We all lived happily ever after, or so I thought. He gave her fancy things and fine silks, and it was everything little Haley had ever wanted. Till one day that hunter showed his teeth. They were showing like knives, and his glowing eyes and pointed ears searched for every lie in her truth. But Haley carried a bag of her tears. One day she let them out to make a river. That river flooded the woods, and it's okay because Haley could swim, but her baby could not. Haley's tears drowned her baby, all because she waited too late. She waited too long. And she looking at Keyshawn. Okay? Let me go ahead and Keyshawn say, Haley? Autumn? What you talking about? Autumn was like, let me give you this gift bag. In this gift bag was a burner phone. She said, call Haley Colton. The number in there, I hope she turned that phone off too, but the number in there when you ready to learn how to swim. And that's how the episode went off. Ooh, it was a good moment. It was a good moment. The actress that played Autumn did a good job telling that story. Because I followed along to this freedom song. Y'all know the freedom song is what the slaves used to sing for the Underground Railroad. That's how they knew that was their map. The song was a map. And so she tells her this story, and it's a map. Girl, listen. I've been there, wandering in the woods in the storm, looking for shelter, looking for love in all the wrong places when I met a wolf. Whoo! In sheep's clothing. One day I saw his teeth and they shone like knives, He was beating me up one side and down the other, Everywhere I turned, I couldn't say nothing. He was looking for a lie in everything I said. He never trusted me, never let me out of his sight. But it's okay, because in my pain and my agony, I prepared an escape that I survived, but my baby did not. If I had just left a little bit early, when the spirit told me to get out, when I first saw them teeth, my baby wouldn't have died. And a river of my own tears. Ooh, wee, baby, that was a good scene. We needed more time with that. I think we could have took Mercedes and Terrica, Autumn, and Keyshawn, and just Clifford, and these moments, a stripped down Clifford, and I think we could have had a stellar episode. For me, the episode felt lackluster. I want to know what you all think. Is it the fact that Clifford has just become this caricature? I mean, we came in the house, grandmother, I know he ain't got my grandmother in here in a diabetic coma. He goes upstairs. Y'all up here sitting around, and I thought somebody had kidnapped y'all and took y'all. I was like, what? What are you doing? What is you doing? Why are we doing this? It's so much. It's so much of this over the top dialogue and demeanor and gestures and costuming that I don't know. I'm not connecting with this character. I haven't truly bought into his character this season. Is it because of the get up? Is it because of everything that makes him shine so bright that I'm not connecting? Do we just need to see him outside of the get up in order to relate? Do we need to see like a past Clifford, not connecting with the character? And is it me, or is the chemistry off? The chemistry is off. It's something weird there. Is the acting off? Is the writing off? Because the chemistry is off. I don't know. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all put it down below. But listen, wasn't my favorite episode. Was not my favorite episode. I liked how everything worked out with the Mercedes character. I think we could have used a whole episode of that, or 30 minutes of that, and 30 minutes of Clifford, just us really, really getting to know Clifford. I mean, for me, Clifford didn't have really any genuine moments outside of that one little moment where he had authenticity, and I didn't get it from in the shower, and that end scene where he and Lil Murda was post-coitus. Other than that, everyone was giving. I don't know. Y'all help me. Y'all know I'm not homophobic or transphobic or any type of those phobics. I just want to understand. I know it's not because it's same sex, because I didn't have that issue with Teak. As a matter of fact, I didn't really see their relationship as sexual, more as like a emotionally codependent, right? And so even in this scene, it's not the actual sex. For me, it was just the fact that it didn't lend anything. Everything that scene gave us, we already had it. We had it through the dialogue, through the acting of J. Alphonse Nicholson. We didn't need a sex scene that I had to fast forward through the second time. When I watched it the second time, I just kept hitting the 10 seconds forward button like 20 times before we moved on from it. Because it didn't give me anything. It was just these dark, shadowy what was the point? What's the point? So I was just like, we could have spent more time getting to know Clifford. Clifford telling us about when he was younger and his fans. Y'all help me. Put it down below, you guys. Listen, go on and enjoy the rest of your day. Listen, and until next time, honeybees. Mwah, mwah, mwah.